Just getting my first cardio session in. Thought I would stream for you guys and gals. Quick reminder for those of you who see this after the fact, please comment down under the video. Hit those likes so that it helps get it into other people's feeds. A reminder, I have coaching slots open. Hit me up. We got 3 coaching slots. But yeah, the cardio's been going pretty well. Feeling pretty good. Been eating, obviously, mostly carbs. You know, that's its own separate topic. But a lot of people are not understanding what I'm doing here. And it has to do with, this is stuff I discussed years and years ago. This is stuff I used when I was overweight and had to get back into shape. Definitely that second time. Lots and lots of list cardio. But if you do stuff with the diet, it works really well, especially with the fasting. So this first session is going to be fully fasted. But again, how do I put this? And again, I've chatted with Viata about this before, but this was really popular for like Dr. John Perillo. This same method he used to use to get pro bodybuilders contest lean without ever doing low calories either, was he literally just took all the fat out of their diet and had them carb up and just add more and more and more list cardio. And I'm not trying to get contest ripped, and I'm not going to do the sort of calories he had people doing. But he was essentially taking these big jacked bodybuilders and for some, like literally stuff like something 6,000 calories, but only enough protein for muscle. So he'd have them on 200 grams of protein, only trace fats, and just thousands of calories of carbohydrates, and just have them do hours of list cardio. And they got ripped and kept all their muscle. Just want to bulk from 200 to 220. How long should I take to do this? Year and a half. I'd take a year and a half, dude. If you want it to be mostly lean. But even then, you're going to have to cut on that. It's not going to be all lean, obviously. Because if you're 200 pounds, you're probably already advanced. What's your body fat like right now, bro? And do you have a goal body fat or look or anything? So how lean are you right now at 200? And are you on gear? Give me a little more info, brother. I'd be happy to help you out. Also, this could be something you could hit me up for a consultation if you want to do a call. Obviously, I charge for those, but I can go into a lot of detail depending on your situation on how to go about doing that. All right. Morning, my pal. What's going on, Mortal? Over here trying to answer Ed's question. Ed, I'm probably about 18%. I'm 6'1", still on the tall side. All right. So about 18% at 200 at 6'1". That's not in a bad place. Yeah, you could lean bulk it up. I mean, honestly, how lean are you trying to stay though? Like, you could recomp a little, or you could lean bulk it up. But if you don't want to gain fat, I mean, I literally might recommend 3 years if you want to stay on 20% body fat. But it's up to you, dude. You know, what are you comfortable with? Are you going to cut again after? Are you going to trim down leaner than where you are? What's your goal? Also, get those likes up, guys. Come on. All right. So it's just different things you have to factor in and think about with all of it. All right. What is it you're trying to do? But like I said, Ed, if you want to hit me up for a consult, I can definitely structure out a game plan and advice for all that. If I recomp versus slow bulk, would I gain less muscle? Minimally. I think what people are forgetting, when they're thinking of, hey, we have to gain weight to gain maximal muscle, that's for lean guys. All right? That's for lean guys. You know, it's debatable if you even gain less muscle. At 18% body fat, depends on who you ask. I mean, if we look at these tiny surpluses, that we're seeing maximum muscle growth with, that's practically a recomp. When you look at the studies, they're like a 3% surplus. Guys, that's like 80 calorie surplus. That's enough to create 100% of possible muscle growth. So just something to consider. So when we talk about needing to gain weight, to gain muscle, that's when you're like 10% body fat. So, I mean, so we could debate it a lot, but I don't think you're going to see significantly always more depending on how lean you are. I get it if you're 10%. Absolutely, you're going to need to gain weight, a slow bulk. But if you're 15+%, you probably don't have to gain body weight to gain 80 to 100% of your possible muscle. Mortal says, so when you say that, do you mean you can stay the same body weight for 3 years? Wouldn't you gain? How would you gain body fat at the same body weight training, Mortal? You just said that. You said say at the same body fat. Oh, I thought you said same body weight. Never mind. I apologize. I misread your question. So, I mean, yeah, you might gain a tiny bit. So if you're not capable of gaining that much muscle, right? If you're a pretty advanced lifter and you're only stacking on 3 pounds of muscle in a year and you gain 20 pounds over 3 years, yeah, half of it's still going to be body fat. CG says he hits the likes for me. Appreciate it, man. Keep hitting those likes for me, guys. Let's get this chat flowing. All right, let's get it flowing. I already had about, I think, 8 minutes or so of walking before I got in here. I'm gonna keep a timer on all this. Although it's Sunday, it's the weekend, I'm feeling good. I could end up doing more than 2 hours a day if I had to. All right, I think I'm an intermediate bench is 250. I want to get to a 315 sooner rather than later. Can I do that this year? How long have you been training? So you're to 250, 250 to 315 in a year is a lot. However, you're a taller, heavier guy. So it's not like you're the average Joe. I don't think people understand where 6'1" is on the percentages. Like, they did a survey in America and 30% of men thought they were 6 feet tall. And it turns out it's only like 12%, 13 or 14% of the entire US population. Because everyone gets their height. But, so I don't think guys understand that bigger frame absolutely matters in that context, you know. But depending on how long you've been training, like if you tell me you've only been training 2 years as an intermediate, maybe. But if you've been training, you know, several years and you're at a 250 to 315 without drugs is probably not going to happen in 1 year for you. It might be a several year goal, you know, but will you probably eventually get there? Yeah. Yeah. Bigger, taller guy with a bigger frame. I mean, a natural 315 bench is, you know, not an unrealistic goal at all. You know, if you're up over 200 pounds. You know, it just might take you just a little bit. Guys with a little smaller frame, it can be like a lifetime goal. All right. And when you say a 315 bench, I assume we're talking a real bench, not bouncing off the chest and lifting the butt. I see so much of that in my feed all day long from these kids. Not even kids always. Hold on, I gotta clear my nose. Gotta clear my nose. Sorry. A little bit of pollen and stuff out here. So, Ed, you're the only one doing much conversation. We had Mortal in here a little bit. All right, get those likes up though, guys. Let's get some more people in, then we'll get some more lively conversation flowing. I'm getting better just weeding the nonsense out of here, though, instead of engaging it. You just find the patterns in people. There we go. I saw some likes trying to come through. There's those little hearts. Because again, it's dying down because we're not getting enough people and asking questions. So it's going to be a little less lively. People will tick out quicker. So there we go. Hit that like button, guys. Yeah, Ed, I mean, a lot of it's going to be dependent upon how long you've been training. Of course, you got to be quicker on answering those questions. It's kind of hard to keep hammering your stuff if we don't get, pretty quick responses. But you might have dropped out of the stream too. So a lot of that happens in here. People start asking questions and they're gone. I give an answer. They come back. Oh, I was out of the stream. I didn't hear the answer. It happens. It happens all the time. All right. Yeah, we're going pretty far this way into the neighborhood. At least we're getting some good sun, some fresh air. This is nicer when it's sun's not fully up yet. It's cool. Hey, Ortang, this is not a political channel. Oh, Ed said I'm still here. Yeah, Ed, you didn't tell me how long you've been training. It was kind of a very, very relevant to, hey, can I go from this to this? This is where I'm at. But it's like, how long you've been working on it, So if you tell me you've been working out a year, well, it might definitely be doable. Working out 2 years is a stretch. You've been doing this 4 years and you're an intermediate there. You're not hitting that in 1 year, unless you get fat. But, so this is always relevant in that context. How long have you actually been working on it? Because that way we have a better idea of your rate of progression. But yeah, Mr. Orat, we don't do politics here. I try not to anymore at all. Again, I don't like discussing politics online. I'm not passionate about politics. I'm just not. I vote, I have my stuff, but I'm not one of those people who stand around creating my whole identity around political beliefs. I don't stand around talking about politics all day with my friends, All right, 3 years, but not properly. Ran starting strength with the last 2 months, added 40 pounds to my bench. Okay, so in the last 4 months, you've gone 210 to 250. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, given that training history, could you possibly reach a 315 in a year drug-free? I'm assuming no gear. Man, maybe. Like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, totally, because it's a stretch. I'm going to give you a 1 in 3 chance of pulling it off in a year, which is not bad. But given that rate of progress from where you're at, your training history, could you do it in 2 years? I'm going to lean to probably. That's a very high. Go from a maybe to a, like, if I programmed it, could I get you there? Yeah, I'm almost certain of it. In 2 years. Like I said, 1 year is still a bit of a stretch, but it's within the realm of possibility. Make sense? Like, I wouldn't gamble on it because it's not a good 50-50. What's your favorite movie? This is a fitness and strength channel. My favorite movie right now, man, I would have said a number of years back, I would have said The Big Lebowski or Raising Arizona. Right now, I'm going to go with The Hobbit there and back again. What about getting a 405 as a lifetime goal? Talking about a 405 bench? Are you talking about, how much gear? Like, how many milligrams of steroids are you willing to use a week? And how fat are you willing to get? You willing to go up to 300 pounds? Drug-free, lean 405 benches are 1 in a million genetics. Maybe 1 in 10 million genetics. You are above the top 1% strength genes for the bench press. Well above the top 1% if you can pull that off. So there's your context. It's like winning the lottery. So I'm not saying it's never been done. People have won the lottery. But you're talking statistically for all purposes impossible, even though it's probably been done a few times. Is rate of progression genetically determined? Hey loser, how about we use structurally determined? Muscle fiber distribution, bones, leverages. Because people use that term genetics too loosely. I don't think people understand what the word genetics means. It gets used way too much. Given what your rate of progress done naturally, if you were to use moderate amounts of gear, you're genetically you're above average in your potential for the bench, Ed. So yeah, with gear, I think you could get a 405 probably, without going crazy, like without eating 2 grams of test or anything. That 500 to 1,000 milligram range for you. The loser, yes, genetics play a factor, but let's call it structurally, right? Muscle fiber density distribution. The reason I say that, people don't seem to know what genes are. We could really change the word genetics to protein, and that would throw people off. What's your protein potential? Because that's all genes do. And a lot of people are unaware of that. They're completely oblivious to the fact that's all genes do. They're blueprints for proteins, protein strands. That's what your genes do. That is what a gene is. It is a blueprint for a protein strand. Because that's what all of our body builds everything with. That's our machinery. Is a 225 over press more impressive than a 315 bench? I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily more impressive. I think the reason it would be conceded is because it's rare, and the reason is less people train the overhead press than the bench. Because quite frankly, there's no orient. It's not a contested lift. So even though a lot of people train the overhead press, we don't have the same level of background knowledge, meaning we don't have thousands of coaches who have perfected technique and programming and weak point training for the overhead press, right? We don't have anywhere near the same number of people who want a big overhead press at bench. It's like literally 50 to 1. So accordingly, it's just not that much knowledge and expertise and number of people trying. I don't think they're dissimilar. Like if every coach in the world and lifter cared equally about the overhead press and programming it as the bench, I think that a 225 and a 315 would be perfectly equal. Right? How's that for an answer? Get those likes up though, guys. Come on. What's up with the fitness influencers promoting green powders that they themselves never even touched a vegetable? Dude, I hate that. Like that is, I hate that so much. Because you guys see my food on social media, right? Facebook, Instagram. How many vegetables do you see me eating? People who look at my food are probably like, Coach probably takes some massive dumps. Because they're like, dude, there's piles of vegetables in like all of his food. Like I probably eat a pound or more of vegetables every single day, if not more. Depending on if I throw potatoes and stuff in too. Same thing with fruit. So if I'm eating fruit, I do a lot of it. I ate a whole watermelon yesterday, an entire watermelon, like a full-size one, in addition to my broccoli and spinach. Here's going to be my answer. I think the fitness influencers this would make a controversial statement. Let's wind some people up, get some hate. I think the fitness influencers who promote green powders and not eating vegetables should be executed for crimes against humanity on camera. How's that? Right? Usually crimes against humanity is public hanging. I think that would be a good start. There we go. Now we'll get some people wound up and upset. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Oh, let's create a hate video. And I really just want people to eat vegetables. All right. So what's a good arm measurement for a natural guy? 15. You got a lean 15-inch arm as a natural, you're doing great. Dudes be faking their arm measurements and lying big time. Sup, Jason? Sup, Ryan? So I think that sums up how I feel about that. Like, I don't think that we should need supplements for our basic health. Like at this moment, I don't need any supplements for my health. I'm considering taking my extra strength fish oil again, and that's about it. Only because my diet is so low in fat right now. If I don't want to eat walnuts or flax just to bring the fat grams down, I could throw that in. But otherwise, I look at that and go, anyone who follows even a basically healthy diet should have absolutely zero problems surpassing the RDA on their vitamins and minerals. Like you should be eating lots of vegetables. Yep. I have a 16-inch arm, no pump, but feel completely average. No, dude, 16 looks big. It looks big. So let's go take the internet away and talk about walking down the street. When I am in a t-shirt with 16.5-inch arms, that's where my arms measure, cold, unpumped, at 220 pounds, the average person compliments me on my arms. On the internet, they're toothpicks, right? But in real life, so I understand the difference. Watched some of your earlier videos years ago. I need to start working out again. Ryan, well, let's get on it, homie. Get back under the barbell. Let's do it. I got coaching slots open. Hit me up on Facebook, man. I'll get you up and flowing. Otherwise, I got free programs here. But yeah, back over to that topic of green powders and stuff. It's nonsense. Like, why? Why don't they just eat a good diet? I literally do not understand this. Why people are opposed to eating a good diet. It's so easy to do. Right? It is so easy to do, and it's so inexpensive. I just don't understand. You know? And it's not like you can't add flavor and seasoning. I think people forget too with healthy eating, your taste buds reset every 21 days. So just because something was bland to you today doesn't mean in 6 months it won't taste like, you put a bunch of stuff in it. But even then, you can add stuff. I mean, I tend to, like, say my chicken, rice, and vegetables. I either add soy sauce or I put salsa on it, right? It works just fine. But I'm broing it up right now big time. I'm on tons of chicken rice. But then I work in lots of vegetables. Sometimes it's potatoes, sometimes it's fruit. But for me right now, like spinach and broccoli are every day. Every day I make sure I eat spinach and broccoli. Those are kind of my current staples. It might be peppers too, except that my little packs of smaller peppers I've been buying, they haven't had them at the store I go to the last couple, the whole shelf is empty. I don't know, there's a supply issue. But yeah, I always say you should be eating at least 2 vegetables every day. If you want a little more fat, avocados are amazing. If you don't mind having a little bit of healthy fat in your diet. It's just that it does add up. Uh-oh, good morning. It's okay. Sorry, yeah, I just stepped out his front door with a German Shepherd. And I'm in his yard. He's doing his job, being territorial. See, there's a person on my sidewalk when we came out the door. See, that's a good dog. He knows his job. Gotta get rid of the booger bears. Creatine's not useless, it's just it is not as effective as we thought it was in the most recent studies. It has turned out with newer and newer measurements that most of the muscle we thought people were gaining from it is water. But that's not a lot. Keep in mind, it's not 10 pounds or something. But it's not useless. And there seems to be some cognitive benefits potentially, Right? I just feel like most supplements are so overrated, they're not worth it. Like, the effects are just so minor if they do anything. You could literally just eat food. That same money could go towards better food for most people. Because I could make the case for, there are people who are creatine non-responders. It was like, well, the people who eat lots of meat, but I don't know that it's always just because of the meat creatine. I think it's maybe they just have more protein in their diet. Their body makes more creatine. And I think that's another one people forget. Creatine is not an essential nutrient. Like, it's not something that our body doesn't make out of other proteins just fine. So there's your context, right? Just like, it's the case of sometimes we can push something way beyond our needs and get minor benefits. So same thing with EPA and DHA from something like extra strength fish oil. Dude, you can make all the EPA and DHA you need for health purposes, from alpha linoleic acid. However, if you mega load EPA and DHA, it can lower triglycerides for people who have certain cardiac conditions. Makes sense. But we're at a therapeutic level to where we're talking 2+ grams of EPA and DHA. And again, be some benefits, particularly for certain cardiac risks. So creatine's kind of in that category. The muscle gains are so small, it turns out they're primarily water now that we're studying it really close and able to measure it. So hello, someone. Doesn't make it useless. But then the same thing, possible cognitive benefits. So it's kind of like mega loading the EPA and DHA for certain medical conditions does work in cardiology. Same thing possibly for creatine and cognitive stuff. So people who are prone to dementia, Alzheimer's, it does seem to potentially help. And it's something I'll look into more again. I always think about because I watched my grandpa deteriorate from Alzheimer's. It was heartbreaking. He was my mentor. And, so stuff to think about. Humility isn't humiliation. It's a well of wisdom you must go down to get something. Tone is key. Okay, I'm not sure what any of that means. All right. Rose says, handsome, appreciate it, man. All right. Person can be humble, but you need to be confident also. There's a difference between being humble and having a low self-esteem. They're two very, very different things. All right. But I don't know what sort of channel you think as you just rolled into. Tone is key. Not really about that life here. We're about being cock decent strong and building elite levels of strength here. I don't promote people being average. It's just not part of my philosophy. So that's where I'm going to disagree with the whole humility thing. I'm sorry, I promote that every one of my followers should be elite. You should be at the top of the food chain. Build yourself up there. Yeah, Carol, I'm hammering the shorts because they get a lot of views, actually. Like, it adds up. And keep in mind, those shorts aren't just YouTube. They go to all my social media. They go to Facebook, they go to Instagram. Occasionally I'll get a short on Facebook that gets 50 or 70,000 views. So, you know, you start doing Ashton Hall. I don't know who that is, and why do I need to do his routine in my shorts? How about I do the Jason Blaha routine in my shorts? How's that sound? How's that? I think that's a better idea instead of following some other goofball stuff. I don't have time for it. Why I want to promote somebody else? I'm using this other person's stuff. What's wrong with you? By the way, I don't even know who that is. That could be some gay porn actor for all I know. You guys need to say, keep in mind, guys, unless you know for a fact I know who somebody is, you should probably qualify those statements. You should be like, Ashton Hall, he's my favorite gay porn actor. You should do his routine, so that I know who they are. He's a baseball player, Your assumptions are mad. What do you mean my assumption's mad? Tone is key. Why are you coming in here into my place insulting me for no reason, man? I'm trying to do my cardio, trying to maintain my elite strength levels at 48. Right? Working on getting the cardio up to get my six-pack back. What are you talking about? I think my assumptions are bad. I think people should do epic shit. You were not born to be average. Every person is capable of being dramatically better than everybody else because most people are lazy. They won't put in work. They won't apply themselves to anything in life. But if you do, you can rise to greatness. And you cannot like that. Maybe this is not the right place for you. I mean, if you're content with being average and ordinary, you're probably not in the right place. And that's okay, man. You do you, brother. Morning, Rufio. Hey, Rufio, I laughed. You saw my response to you on Gustav. So you're like, Gustav needs to work on his legs. I'm like, but we are working on his legs. You got to remember, he's an intermediate lifter. It's not like he's been training 4 or 5 years. It takes time to build big legs, dude. You need a few years under a squat bar, right? I'm not going to be at a level of greatness purely because of the fact that you're known worldwide. I suppose. We're just doing our thing. I'm just a guy who makes videos and loves training and coaching and lifting. And just wants to get everybody strong as fuck. That is my mission statement. I've said that many times. I want to get every human being on the face of the earth under a heavy barbell. Weakness is a disease that we can cure. All right, it's an iron deficiency. You get about 500 pounds of iron on your back regularly, and it will cure it. But no, weakness is a disease, and it's harming humanity as a whole. Just saying. Grandma doesn't want it. Grandma needs to get under a heavy barbell. I've seen grandmas do great things under a barbell. Get her under there. Come on. What's the problem, Grandma? Get her in the squat rack. Hi, I never trained legs due to knee injury, 225, 62, hands 10 years, 15% body fat. What weight gain can I expect to add from just new lean gains? Oh man, a lot. So you haven't been training legs, right? So you got noob gain potential in your legs and your own gear. A lot. I can't give you an exact number. A lot. Undertrained legs combined with steroids and training them. A lot. Yes, Gustav's legs are lacking, but looking forward to seeing development. Will you still be under barbell when you? I've said many times I don't know that I'll live that long. I will be under a barbell my last day on earth if I'm allowed to. Right? If I have not been physically restrained in a nursing home, my last day on earth, I will still want to be in the gym at least some point in that day. Like the iron game is a way of life. Right? This is not a little hobby. This is a way of life for me. It's a philosophy. Right? You know? All the way till the end, guys. It is what it is. You know? Also, throw a few more likes up, because this stream's not going to run much longer. We're already closing in on 40 minutes, and I ran 2 little short Facebook Lives in this one first. So we're already, I'm certain I'm past 45 minutes. But I'm on my block again. Man's on the block. Smoke trees. Dingle scraw. Why did that just pop in my head? Who would you choose as your last meal on earth? Vagina. All right. I don't know. Maybe a good steak. Like if I don't care about health anymore and I know I'm about to die, I don't know, steak and some french fries. Like a really good steak. Stuff you really shouldn't be eating in combination, you know. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Who is they? And what things do you say on Twitter? Right? What does that have to do with getting an elite deadlift and being jacked and strong? I'm not understanding the point here. How exactly is this relevant to Jason Blaha's strength and fitness stream? Although this has been relatively troll-free, guys. You guys noticed that? I've only banned one person. We are 38 minutes into a stream. There we go. Wait, who's still crushing it? Carol, are you saying I'm 60 or are you saying you're 60? Because I was just speaking and about to hit a ban button again. We're going to get 2 in one stream. What's your main lifting goal for the rest of this year? I still want to hit those other lifts. I need to get leaner first, though. I need to trim down, and then I'll focus on that again. So I'm going to do mostly just rep work. Just at a point where I'm looking and I'm thick enough, it's time to get lean, and then we'll push the strength back up again. I'm not worried about it. See, that's the thing. You don't worry about those things. When you're in different phases of your training, and this is something I point out to people. You cannot be worried about outcomes. You have to be process obsessed. So right now, I'm realizing I do need to trim down to get leaner, or get abs again, while maintaining 100% of my muscle and gaining some. So I don't worry about the other stuff. Make sense, Rufio? We don't get distracted. This is how you fail current goals. You get distracted in your process. So we'll get leaner, then we'll push strength back up. But I could also make the case that, what if I don't gain any strength? What if I trim down and then I do a 198 and I hit the same lifts I've hit this year? Would I still have an elite world level total? Would I get invited to worlds that year? 100%. Right? They don't understand the things. They listen to the new, what are you talking about? I don't even know any Kanye West songs. Jason, what time do you usually hit the hay? Nobody's business. The reason I say that, Seth, because if I give you a bedtime, there will invariably be a troll who sends a pizza delivery guy to my house 15 minutes after the exact time I name. Make sense? Oh, I want to see 60-year-old Jason still lifting heavy. Yes, there we go. That's a good goal, Carol. Did I ever turn down in the 181 category? Why do you guys ask me things like that? Because if I do, then there'll be people calling me a liar. Does that make sense? So Rufio, at this time, I see no reason to do that. However, eventually, as I get older, I'll probably need to, just for health purposes, right? What do you mean trolls send pizza to my house? I thought everybody knew trolls send pizza to my house. I thought this was common knowledge. Actually, lately they're too broke. It's been breadsticks. They can't afford pizza. But that's enough. Let's not talk about that. So back to that other point, Rufio. Sure, one day I will eventually probably need to for health. Be pretty shredded though. Oh. But even then, so let's say realistically, what happens if I just get leaner and I don't chase higher strength goals, and I just come back and hit the same lifts I've done on camera this year? My best 3 lifts, and I did them on a platform in the 198 at 49 years old. Would I earn a world's invite? 100% chance I would get a world's invite from that. Not even in question. So, just stuff to think about. All right, we're past 50 minutes, aren't we? It's been a good session. So, I think I need to wind this down, get back inside, get a little work done. I'm at my house. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.